Welcome, everybody. I'm Joe from the Game House. Today we'll be doing a Miami Dolphins 2025 NFL mock draft. The Dolphins are on the clock in our 2025 NFL mock draft series here at the Game House. We'll be doing a mock draft for each team before free agency and one after free agency to kind of give different looks at each team. We'll be using NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator because I like the way it meshes all big boards from across the internet together to make their own big board, and it's not just relying on one site. There's still going to be players who fall in this mock draft that are not the most realistic, but we'll keep it as realistic as possible. And with that, declining all trades that come with it. So the Dolphins have the 13th overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. We know that they have, Tua, who's been injured the last couple of years. We know they need to fix the offensive line. That's the first place I would go, and I'm probably going to go with this one. Let's go Kelvin Banks, the tackle from Texas. He played left tackle at Texas. Some people think he might move into guard, but there's the Dolphins need so much help everywhere on the offensive line that I think take them and move them to where you need them to be to help this team really reach their full potential because they really do have solid players all over. Javon Holland's a free agent, so maybe get a safety, and Jordan Poyer is aging, so I don't see any safeties within range here. I mean, Xavier Watts wouldn't be the worst pick, so maybe he'd be the pick, but that's a little bit of a reach at 48. I mean, honestly, I might just double up on offensive line here. Get Donovan Jackson, interior offensive lineman for Ohio State, did play left tackle after Ohio State had some injury issues and held up well at left tackle, honestly, too. So you really fix an offensive line. Yes, there's some holes you still need to fill, like a third receiver, maybe the safety, maybe some defensive linemen, but, you know, Chop Robinson stepping up at edge rusher really helped out, so I think that helps, and we'll see what we can get here too for them in the middle rounds. Maybe get some more impact players for them. Lathan Ransom wouldn't be bad, but we do have a pick coming up later too at 115. That's pretty close, and I think we should go Jordan Birch out of Oregon. Maybe overshadowed by teammates on the defensive line at Oregon, but a solid player overall for Oregon and a guy that pick number 98. I think he's a guy who can definitely fill a role for the Dolphins defense. And Lathan Ransom's still there, so I think that might be the pick, even though it's not recommending it. It wants us to take a quarterback, a left-hander. If Dylan Gabriel was just like Tua in that regard, but Javier Strepo to play the slot wouldn't be bad. Getting Gunnar Helm wouldn't be bad for this offense, but I'm going to go Lathan Ransom, the safety out of Ohio State. I think more of a strong safety, a guy who can lay some big hits down, make some big plays, and did make some big plays for Ohio State throughout this season and throughout his career, to be honest, too. All right, next pick up. Wants us to take one of these edge rushers or a linebacker. I think Malik Washington has the third wide receiver spot. I think he could develop into that third receiver that they need. Did show some flashes last year. I'll go Ashton Gelati, the edge rusher out of Louisville. Yes, you have some young edge rushers you like. This is the middle round. See if you can get some depth there. Bigger edge rusher. I think he can really help out this team in different ways. Pick 151. Now, I personally like Ricky White a lot, even though I just said all that about about Malik Washington. Ricky White is so fast. He plays special teams. At this point in the draft, another flyer on a guy who could be a third wide receiver. You have Tyreek Hill making those trade requests. Now he's taking those back, so we'll see how that all plays out. But I do not mind taking Ricky White in the middle rounds as a guy who could potentially develop into a receiver, but at the least at the start, he blocked so many punts at UNLV last year that I think he's worth taking a look at. Next pick, let's go Tommy Hill, the corner out of Nebraska. Another developmental guy. He had a really cool pick six on Shedeur Sanders in Colorado. I think a lot of people had him higher earlier in the season, maybe falling down now later as we get closer to the draft, which isn't the greatest sign. But get him at pick 156 for a player that a lot of people thought early in the season could be, first, second round pick. It's not too bad. Next pick up, we have pick 226. We have not taken some of these positions, so let's go with Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame, the guy who tore his ACL in 2023. Didn't seem like he fully recovered from that, which is something to note for the future. But not the fastest tight end, but could be a security blanket for the future as well. Next one up, let's go Jaquavius Marks, the running back out of USC. I take him in a lot of these mock drafts late. A guy who is a good receiver out of the backfield and had that from his time at Mississippi State, proved that again at USC, and had some really good plays early in the season for USC. We have pick number 252. I'm going to pick Elijah Roberts with this one, I think. I think this is extreme value. I think he's going to go much earlier than this. Kind of a tweener between edge and defensive lineman. And yes, we already have those positions filled, but I think a player that just presents too much value that late in the draft to not take him. So we'll go back through this draft real quick. We have Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle out of Texas. Help that offensive line. We're going to continue helping that offensive line with Donovan Jackson, the interior offensive lineman for Ohio State, who also has experience at tackle down the stretch for the Buckeyes. Jordan Birch, the defensive lineman out of Oregon. Lathan Ransom, the safety out of Ohio State. Ashton Gelati, the edge out of Louisville, Ricky White, the wide receiver out of UNLV for special teams, but maybe he can turn into a good receiver for you as well. Cornerback Tommy Hill out of Nebraska, tight end Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame, Jaquavius Woody Marks, the running back out of USC, and then the defensive line edge kind of guy you got to figure out what his role is going to be. Elijah Roberts, the guy out of SMU who started his career at Miami U. All right, so let me know what you think of this mock draft down in the comments below. We'll be doing more mock drafts for every NFL team, so stay tuned for that. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.